All right. Interesting story came out, Rob, in USA Today, as they generally do. It's not shocking that it came out, but it had the highest paid college coaches. And of no surprise, Nick Saban is number one at $9.3 million a year. Of course, he just came down with COVID.
COVID, right.
Yep,
Nick Saban
yep.
is the big-time coach who they just announced about 30, 45 minutes ago that he has COVID. He left the facility, and so that's where that
Also,
stands.
the LSU-Florida game has been rescheduled for December. I believe that's what the update said, but that's COVID-related as well. So, man, it's, we see it in NFL. We see it in national college
part of
football.
where we are.
Yeah, we saw it in baseball. Yeah, we just got to deal with it. Unless you're going in a bubble like the NBA, this is going to be a part of the story. But getting back to this USA Today story, right? They ran the list of the highest paid coaches. Again, Saban number one, $9.3 million. Ed Orgeron, who just led LSU to the national championship, although they're struggling right now, he's second. And then Clemson's Dabo Swinney third. Michigan's Jim Harbaugh is fourth, $8 million a year and some change. And here's the thing, Rob. Everyone in the top 8 has either won a national championship, or they have, I believe they've won a national championship.
All 8?
Or no, they've either won a national title or at least played in the college playoff,
right.
in the college football playoff, the top 4.
Which Michigan and Jim Harbaugh haven't even played in that.
He's the only one in the top 8 who hasn't won a title or even played in the playoff. And now there was a story in Yahoo, interesting, because Harbaugh is the only coach in the Power 5 who has less than 2 years remaining on his contract. It expires after next season. Usually you don't let a guy go that long. And so now there are rumblings of, could this mean Michigan would move on from Harbaugh if nothing changes in these next 2 seasons? I don't think it's hard to see Michigan firing Harbaugh. Obviously, he played there. And he hasn't lived up to expectations. He hasn't lived up to that contract, but he has made them relevant, more relevant than they have been in several years. They have finished ranked in the top 25 in 4 of his 5 seasons there. So what I could see happening, Rob, and this could potentially lead to his departure, is, look, if he's making $8 million a year and after this season, we still have not been to at least the playoff, then I think a pay cut is in order. If I'm Michigan, I go to him and say, look, we're going to bring you down to $6 million or whatever. Now he might not like that, which I can imagine he wouldn't, and he might want to move on. But to keep paying him $8 million, Rob, I've been a defender of Harbaugh because, again, he's made them relevant. He's gotten them ranked. But for that type of money, you expect more. And so I could see that type of thing happening, but I don't see them firing him.
I think at some point Michigan will have to decide what it is they really are looking for, because I don't believe that they paid Jim Harbaugh national championship coach money for them not to even be in the playoff. I mean, right. Chris, you could talk about not winning a championship, but to not even play for it is indefensible. You just can't. He's been there long enough. He's had enough of, so his recruits, you can't say.
They constantly send people to the NFL. There's
right.
no question.
So you can't say that they don't have talent.
Right.
He's a guy who had some success in the NFL. He's a big-name coach. He's a quarterback who played in the NFL. You can go wave that around. I don't think most college coaches can go sit in somebody's living room and talk about getting you to the next level. I played at the next level. Those are all things that kids want to hear. And yet, when you look at how they've been embarrassed by Ohio State, even like the losses to Michigan State and Notre Dame, it's just even against the rivals.
To your point, Rob, he's 0-5 against Ohio State, 2-12 against top 10 opponents, and 4 straight bowl losses.
This is what I'm saying, Chris. Those are numbers that aren't good enough. Like if I told you that those were the numbers for Brady Hoke, would he still be the coach, Chris?
Oh, no.
He would be fired.
Right.
He would be fired. And that's the point. At some point, Michigan has to stop with he's one of ours, he's a Michigan man, we can't put him out, and all that stuff. When you wouldn't hold anybody else, you wouldn't let Rich Rodriguez have these numbers, Chris. Brady Hoke, who they used to call Brady Joke when he was the coach, and Jim Harbaugh for some reason gets a free pass.
Well,
and I know that they were bad, but he came here to elevate them, not to just win 9 games and not make the college bowl, the playoff. That's not what he came. 5 years?
Well, and here's, you're right. Look, the numbers I read: 2-12 against top 10 teams, 0-5 against the rival. Ohio
you don't have to
State.
beat them every year, Chris, but you gotta win.
Beat them every blue moon. Every a little bit.
And do you remember
right?
the year? They went? They had a big game late in the year. Was that 2 or 3 years ago? And they got their butts kicked. Do you remember that?
I was at the game last year, and it was a laughter
embarrassing
after midway through the second quarter. But here I will say this, Rob, and this was my point. They had not been ranked they had been ranked in the top 15 one time in the 8 years before Harbaugh got there. In his 5 years there, they've been ranked in the top 15 3 times. Now, again, it's not Ohio State. It's not Alabama. It's not LSU, Clemson. We get that. But you're very relevant. You're still, Michigan's obviously been historically a great program, even with their lack of national championships. And that's where they are. My problem is the money he's getting paid. Is the money he's getting. I could keep him at $6 million. Even that is, high for a guy that hadn't gotten me to the playoff yet. And the thing is this, Rob, if they broach that with him, I can't see him taking that less amount of money. But you haven't done it. You haven't done what you've been called there to do. And for them to say, we want to keep you, we love you, you're Michigan through and through, but we can't pay you $8 million a year for this. I don't think that's out of line. Obviously, I don't think he'd accept that. But I think he should if he wanted to stay. They grew up in Ann Arbor, right? He's Michigan blue blood through and through. If you really love the program, cannot you admit, I've done all right. I've done $6 million worth of job, $5 million. I haven't done 8.
Nope. Ego won't allow it. Ego won't allow for Jim Harbaugh to take less. And Michigan knows that he'll go I could go back to the NFL. I went to the Super Bowl with Colin Kaepernick. You know what I mean?
They fell right off the map when he left.
Right, and make that, even though they did wind up going back to the Super Bowl last year. So he can make that case that he can leave, and that's his leverage. But at some point, Michigan has to do better. And if they get their butts kicked again by Ohio State or whatever, I don't know what their schedule is because obviously it's a shorter schedule. So I don't know who's on their schedule, Chris. Right. I don't know if they're playing Michigan State.
They're not expected to be that good.
And not right.
I think they're preseason
to be good
16,
but not great.
Which is
right?
yeah.
Good,
but he
not
does
great.
he does need to beat some of these highly ranked teams, and especially Ohio State. But it's I don't know. It might have to be the fan base that just goes wild to get them to fire Harbaugh, Rob, because it would be tough to see them do that. It'd be hard to see them doing that. All right, 877-99 on Fox, 877-996-6369. We are throwing it out to you. What do you think? Should Michigan move on from Jim Harbaugh? And I know this is a crazy question, but if they offered him less, should he take it to stay with the blue and the maize? 877
The Maize in the Blue.
The Maize in the Blue, yes. Your turn to weigh in with Chris and Rob, the Odd Couple.
All right, let's kick it off with Kyle in Virginia. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Kyle?
Fellas?
How are you?
What's going on? Oh, pretty
What's
good,
up?
pretty good. I have 2 points. One, I question just how relevant the Michigan job is. Like, this ain't your Desmond Howard, Charles Woodson, Michigan program anymore, and things change over time. And 2, if you get rid of Harbaugh, who are you going to get? You're just going to have another coaching carousel and not even be relevant. At least Harbaugh puts a name to it and makes you talk about Michigan. You know, that's my point.
Yeah,
I agree.
Kyle,
My only problem is the amount of money he's getting paid. I agree with you.
But Kyle, this is the problem though. What are you trying to win or not? Like if what you're saying, then he should never be fired, no matter what the record is. If it's about going to get somebody else and a coaching carousel, at some point, if you're not winning, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. You just can't hold on to people.
Would you feel this way? And look, you're right. Michigan, while not quite an Ohio State or Alabama type program, is, a top 10 program historically in college football. And so they should be playing for the playoff and for national championship.
To not even be in the playoff,
Right.
Chris, is the indictment. Seriously.
Right.
That's
But
the
would
indictment.
you, if he was making $5 million a year, would you be like they need to move on from him?
Well, but he can't be in. He's the 4th highest paid,
Right.
so the money doesn't match up to what he's delivering. I keep saying he's like a pizza delivery man. He makes a lot of dough, but he doesn't deliver, and that's the problem with Jim Harbaugh. He hasn't delivered to Michigan yet. How about Brandon in Michigan? You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Brandon?
Hey, what's up, fellas?
How you?
What's up, bro?
I'm doing all right, man. How y'all doing?
Great.
Hey, so first thing, I got a couple different reasons why it's not even close that he shouldn't even be fired. I don't even think it should be a conversation, honestly. And what I think it is, I think it's the expectation on what he should have done when he got there. I think the expectations are too far through the roof and not paying attention to what Michigan was before he got there. If this was the C. Woody days and then he took over, then it wouldn't even be a question. He should be gone. But people forget how low the Michigan program got. And as a fan of Michigan, living in Michigan my whole life, people forget before he got there, Harbaugh has never won less than 8 games. If we just talk about the 2000s, the last 19
Hold on, Brandon. Is it just about winning 8 games? This is my Here's my problem, okay, with Wolverine fans and Michigan people. You guys are holding on to the Bo Schembechler and all that, the winged helmet, the helmet, and all that. But you guys won 1 national championship that was shared. All I'm saying is Michigan should demand more, but they should demand more.
They've never won. Like you said, they won. Bro Schembechler was
He never won a national
They
championship.
got a statue, right? And when we were growing up, Bo Schembechler was he was
he was a
right in
football
there
god,
with
but he never
Joe Paterno and Woody Hayes and all those guys. You're right. He never won the national championship, and that's the point. They're not quite Ohio State and Alabama where it's national championship or bust.
But
that's
the
what
problem
caller's
is
saying.
when you're looking at all these players, Chris, who have gone on to the NFL.
I agree
Tom
with that.
Brady played there. I mean, we could go. The list is so long. And
Even
yet
recently, they've had great players. You know,
Right,
they
and
always
yet
have a ton of dudes get drafted.
they got 10, 12 guys going to the NFL. I might be exaggerating, but you know what I mean. Enough
one
players.
year or a couple years they do that. Yeah.
All right, Noah in Washington. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. What's up, Noah? Okay, is that Priya in Wisconsin? Priya, you're on
Hi,
the Odd
guys.
Couple,
Thank you for your
Fox
show.
Sports
I have
Radio.
2
How are
questions.
you?
Hello?
What'd you say?
Yep. Go ahead.
Yep. I have 2 questions. One is, in this situation, how much do the players bear responsibility for their less than stellar record? And then I want to ask the same question. Who do you think would be a good coach for Michigan moving forward?
First, let me say this. I'll take the players thing. Here's the thing. If they play well and win you a national championship, the coach doesn't make any tackles, the coach doesn't throw any touchdowns, and he gets credit, and he gets a big contract. So when you win, right, and you take credit for putting the kids in the right position to win and excel, then you have to also get the blame when things don't work out. You can't have it only one way. You only get credit when the kids play well. So, Chris, you could take the money part. I mean,
yeah, I agree with
if
you.
there's
Look,
anybody out there.
Obviously, some of it's on the kids. I mean, they're the ones out there playing, but Rob's right. I mean, the coach, he's going to get a ton of credit, so he's going to get a ton of blame when they don't live up to what they're supposed to do. As far as my thing is, I do agree with the last caller that Harbaugh's made him relevant. I've been saying that. And he's been disappointing, but not to the point where it's fireable. But I would think he'd need to work with them because he's not earning his $8 million a year. And he should be willing to, take a little bit less. I know that maybe I'm just in a fantasy world, but I don't know who, can you go get a Lincoln Riley? I mean, Oklahoma's kind of a blue blood too about what Michigan is. So I don't know if you can go get a guy like that, or maybe there's got to be a hot young assistant out there. I mean, Ryan Day, look at what he became at Ohio State. So maybe there's a guy like that. But